I'm sure we all remember what it was like as a kid when your parents left you home alone. It's great. You're the king of the castle, in charge of keeping your little siblings in line. Your brother wants to jump on the bed. Not on my watch. Maybe your baby sister thinking about making a mess in the kitchen. No, not going to happen. Everything's under control until you step away for just a moment. Your siblings start fighting and bam, they break mom's favorite lamp. You know the one. You try to fix it, but it's completely shattered. And by the time your parents get home, you're all in trouble.
All right, that's it. That's it. You two guys leave me no choice. No television for a week. What? This house is a prison.
You didn't do anything wrong, but now you're paying the price. Doesn't sound fair, right? Well, that's what's going on in Eastern Europe. Halfway across the world, Russia and Ukraine have started to brawl. But instead of breaking a lamp, they're going to break the economy. And like the responsible older brother, the American people are going to get punished for it. And there's no place will be hit harder than at the gas pump. We showed you last night a gallon of gas is over $5 here in New York City. It's well over $100 just to fill up your SUV.
What do you think about these high gas prices?
I think they're ridiculous.
It's difficult for us.
It's horrible. It's $5.29 here. I can't afford that.
How much does it cost you to fill up your tank?
My tank, $80.
Over 100?
Here it cost me about $100.
$110. Regular.
And that's just getting started. Yesterday, Biden laid out a series of sanctions against Russia. But sanctions in Russia are like mosquitoes in Louisiana. They've always been there. It's a way of life. They deal with it. Russia's ambassador to the U.S. summed it up best, saying, quote, "I don't remember a single day when our country lived without any restrictions from the Western world. We've learned to work in such conditions, and not only to survive, but also to develop our state. There is no doubt that the sanctions introduced against us will hit global financial and energy markets. The United States will not be left out, with its ordinary citizens feeling the consequences of the price increase in full. Biden's sanctions are going to hurt Americans more than Russians. Oil supply is already tight, and Russia, a big exporter, could just slow down the flow whenever it wants. So how do we protect ourselves? Jesse Watters' Primetime has written an advice column, and it's addressed to one person, Joe Biden. Mr. President, suspend the federal gas tax. This would take the edge off immediately. Don't wait until prices hit $4 a gallon nationally. Do it now. Even Democrats are calling for it.
There's some of us who think that we should suspend the federal gas tax. That's something that I introduced last week. A temporary suspension. It's not perfect, but at least it would bring down the average cost of a gallon of gas for my constituents.
When Jesse and Democrats agree, it's time to act. Joe spent the last year destroying America's energy independence, making us more reliant on foreign nations like Russia for our oil. President Biden, you need to admit you made a mistake. I know you're not going to restart the Keystone pipeline. That's too big of an ask. But last week you did something really dumb. You have to unfreeze the holds on new permits for oil and gas leases on federal lands. I'm no energy expert, but that seems like a pretty stupid move in the middle of a gas crunch. Instead, we have to kiss up to OPEC for our energy needs. Biden just begged OPEC, to boost production. They just flipped them off. You need to go back to OPEC, Mr. President, and threaten the Saudis with I don't care what, just get them pumping more oil. We basically pay for their security in that desert, threaten to yank it. And get your energy secretary in gear.
What is the Granholm plan to increase oil production in America?
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Would that I had the magic wand on this. As you know, of course, oil is a global market. It is controlled by a cartel. That cartel is called OPEC, and they made a decision that they were not going to increase beyond what they were already planning.
Have you ever seen an administration get pushed around by cartels like this one in the Mideast and in Mexico? You said America's back, so act like it. We're sanctioning Russia, so why not sanction the Saudis or the Mexicans? Their cartels hurt Americans much worse. But Biden seems frozen in fear over this looming economic crisis. The Dow's down 2,000 points in less than a week. Biden, why don't you release oil from the strategic reserve? We're facing an actual emergency, not like the political emergency you released for last year. It won't solve all our problems, but it'll at least send a message to the American people that every cent counts and you have our back. The liberal media is pleading with Joe to do something. Watch.
Gas prices that were already at an 8-year high are now spiking. California yesterday hitting an all-time record, nearly $5 a gallon.
A crisis in Europe has implications for everyone, John. It's a global market for energy. Any supply disruption from fighting or from sanctions could raise prices further. President Biden pledged to use every tool to blunt gas prices, but he acknowledged they are coming. And it's not just energy. Food costs could also rise.
She's right. It's not just gas. You think food prices are high now? Just wait. Your receipt at Applebee's is going to look like you ordered caviar. Russia and the Ukraine aren't just the world's gas station. They're also one of the globe's bread baskets. Corn, sunflower seed oil, and wheat are some of Ukraine's top exports. And as Congressman Tom Massey points out, the region's also responsible for, you ready, $700 million of fertilizer each year. It's a lot of important ingredients we could soon find ourselves short on. A war in Europe, that disrupt the food supply chain, possibly sending commodity prices through the roof. Experts are saying the fallout from Europe could push inflation to 10%. It's already at 7%. Maybe that's why in this recent AP poll, only, you ready, 26% of Americans want the U.S. to have a major role in Ukraine. That's a whopping 72% of us wanting to have a little minor role or no role at all. The American people know this isn't our fight. This is Europe's fight. So why should we be punished for their problems? Aren't you sick of bailing out the Europeans anyway? I can already tell Biden's going to start passing the blame. He'll look to peg Putin as the reason our economy craters, but Joe is already doing a pretty good job ruining it himself. Biden has plenty of tools left in his belt. He could approve the Israeli pipeline to Europe. That cuts out Russia. Biden already withdrew his support for it earlier this year. You ready? Because he didn't want to anger Russia. Yeah, we wouldn't want to do that now, would we? He just can't wait for the problems to present themselves. We see the results of that today. The president has no vision and is wickedly stubborn and hates to correct his mistakes. The Russia-Ukraine conflict might be halfway around the world, but its problems are landing on our front door.